All right, guys, welcome back to the Jenks Hammer podcast. Today, guess who's back? We got our co-host. Welcome back, John.
Back from Italy. Fun trip. Saw some NFL dudes. Got to talk about it a little bit. So went for 10 days. Went over all over Italy, and ran into 10 NFL kind of 10
Didn't,
NFL.
didn't
Yeah,
even talk to any of them.
guys. So first one I see, Cam Jordan walks up behind me. Boom, he's right there. I texted Grayson. He's going nuts.
Dude,
Cam Jordan, a
you could have
little
talked to
he,
him.
on.
Come on.
No, come on. We were like taking a tour of like a church, and he's vacation. You gotta be respectful. It's he's a saint. Who cares about the Saints? You know what I mean? If
I
it's a
do.
Packer, I'm probably going up
Dude,
to
you could
him.
have
But
you could have
he's a
FaceTimed
saint.
me. Oh, I
You
guess you
know?
couldn't have because you're in Italy.
Nah, yeah, but he's lots. He's a little smaller than you would think. But
Yeah, right.
but
Yeah, right.
saw him, and then a couple days later, see John Lynch, GM of the 49ers, right? Also played for the Buccaneers. Um, Safety, white safety, stud. Um,
Like
but
yourself,
yeah, he walked past
icon.
me and my family, and my dad's a big 49ers fan, right? So he walks past, and I'm like, yo, that's I think that's John Lynch, right? Like, and I look up like his family, and I kind of match up the kids, and I'm like, turning my dad, I'm like, holy crap, like
That's him.
that's John Lynch. So that was pretty cool. My dad found that pretty cool, and it's the only reason I know what he looks like is because whenever the Packers lose or get blown out by the 49ers, they cut the camera to John Lynch in the box. Oh, look at this awesome team he
Yeah,
put
it's a
together,
likely occurrence.
smashing,
So
the Packers. And then the final one on the flight home back to New Jersey, I see Minka Fitzpatrick. And first I'm like, I'm we're waiting, we're like boarding the plane, and I'm looking down on my phone, listening to music. Let's look over, and he's just in the wide open, just Minka Fitzpatrick. I'm like, who? Like that's him, and it makes sense, right? He's from New Jersey, played high school football at St. Peter's, um, and yeah, I think I was just surprised he didn't have like a private jet or anything. But yeah, it was Minka. It was pretty cool, and 8-hour flight with Minka. Getting off the plane, I like walked like right behind him, like getting off the plane. I like took some
didn't say
videos,
anything.
looking like a creep. Nah, I'm not. Because he's not a Packer. I don't care, and he's on vacation, all that. And 8-hour flight. I mean, who wants to get annoyed
Yeah,
by a fan?
get
8-hour
off of it
flight.
and just like,
So then we're
hey,
waiting for
Minka.
the bags, right? We're waiting for the luggage. After the flight, we had to wait like an hour and a half. And he just looked pissed. And I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going up to this guy right now. But he looks huge in person. He's big.
Swole,
He's big.
big swole guy.
Not even just tall, like tall.
Really?
And he's got to be only 6'2", 6'3", but he looks like,
I
I
mean,
don't
but
know.
we're both
Like
we're
Cam
not
Jordan
tall.
is like, he's a big guy, he's defensive end, right?
Yeah, they're
He seemed a
all
little
tall.
like small to me, but Minka seemed like huge to me. I don't know why.
Yeah,
But
because on the field, I mean, like they look smaller compared to like those sort of
yeah,
guys. So it's like,
yeah. But so here's the one thing I'm gonna say. So I saw Cam Jordan, John Lynch, and Minka Fitzpatrick in my short time in Italy, right? So Cam Jordan, Saint, right? One of my close friends right here, Grayson Jenkins, Saints fan. My dad, 49ers fan, right? Sees we see John Lynch, right? That's funny, GM, right? Then one of my close buddies from home, big Steelers fan, saw Minka Fitzpatrick, right? So it's like I saw like everyone's team but
yeah,
my own. You know what I
No
mean? And what
Packers,
did that tell
no
me?
Packers
I'm
players.
like, when everyone's out here on vacation, Packers are working, man. They're back at Green Bay, getting Jordan Love right, and we're
All
working, and
right,
that's why you gotta watch out for us. You know what I mean? We're not on
yeah, but
vacation like we're not on
those are all the
vacation
vets.
like all these other teams. So
Those are
yeah.
those are the vets.
Yeah.
They don't need as much work as these young guys the Packers
Okay.
got.
Okay.
Nah,
But yeah. But
one thing
it was a fun trip. Glad to be home. And
one
yeah.
one thing I'll say is I don't know if we'd post him on social media, but John's dad happened to be like kind of photo bombing those, or
No,
he
yeah. So so
pictures of
so
John's dad
of
with them in
course
the background.
we took pictures, right? And my dad was like, "All right, you're not just gonna take a picture of him like, 10 feet away and just snap a picture of him." So my dad turns around, he's like, "All right, take a picture of me." So my dad's on like, half on like
Yeah,
one
he's
side, and
standing
like
there like
Cam Jordan
straight
and like
faced.
John Lynch is like on the other side. So I don't know. Maybe if you guys want really bad, we can post them on Twitter.
It's
If
so
we get
funny.
like if
Yeah.
we get like 10 comments on this video, maybe
Yeah,
we'll
it'd be
post them,
more
and
comments than we've ever gotten.
you could see my dad with pick with
Big hammer,
John Lynch and
Cam.
Cam Jordan. So yeah, funny but good trip. Glad to be home. It's July 1st today when we're filming this, and we're like a month and a half, 2 months away from NFL season. So let's go. We got a good episode for you guys today, and let's get right into it.
Welcome to the Jenks and the Hammer podcast, bringing you the latest NFL news and insights from the perspectives of two die-hard fans. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some football talk with Jenks and the Hammer.
All right, guys, getting right into it with our first segment. So today, there's not much news going around the NFL. I kind of thought to myself, like, people care right now.
Never is.
What people care about right now is like fantasy. Like that's the only thing that like could be possibly going on. I'm doing like a dynasty league, and that draft is soon. Other leagues could do drafts soon. I don't know who would be doing it that like this early, but
No.
fantasy is kind of like the main conversation. You can talk about that whenever. It's more like speculative, but with no news going on. So today's segment, what we're going to be doing is this or that. We're going to be doing two guys from each position group who we think are similar in like strengths, weaknesses, whatever. And we're going to be choosing why we think they're better. So I'll start it off with quarterbacks right off the bat. And I'm going to say Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. What do you think, John?
I mean, we're talking about these guys are both in the top 5 for fantasy, right? I think it's the first thing that I look at when like, looking at fantasy guys and all that. I look at like, of course, QB, you got to look about, you got to look at the receivers, of course, but you got to look at the offensive line. And what my big thing I look for is division, right? What kind of division are you in? What kind of defenses are you going against? Because that matters, because you're going against that, these teams twice a year, you know what I mean? And if you're going against a really good defense 2 times, you know what I mean? Like that can hurt your value to me. Looking at, both in a tough division. Both got weapons. I think Burrow's got more weapons. If I pick the Bengals to be the number 1 seed, if you watch the playoff video, I think it's their year. I think Burrow has an awesome year, maybe MVP. So I got to go Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think.
Over Allen.
And like you said, I think it's a great point as the defenses being brought up. The AFC East has 3, other than the Bills, has 3 strong defenses. Like the Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots all have really, really strong defenses. Where you look at the Steelers and
Steelers good defense.
Steelers have good defense, but I'm saying like Browns, Ravens, but I don't think that's as good. I don't think those 3 are as good as the other 3.
As good as the East?
Yeah, like it's a solid division was, but I think depth-wise, I think all those teams have built for better defense.
Yeah.
Like, Dolphins just went and got Jalen Ramsey. Like, they're preparing for those kind of high-powered offenses at corners and defense in general. So I think Joe Burrows has more receivers as well. I think he has more depth at weapons. Unless, like, the Bills make some splash move before the season, get D-Hop or something like that.
Yeah.
I think for sure, Dalvin Cook even. I think for sure that Joe Burrow has a better season this year.
Yeah, that's honestly coin toss. You can go either way. I'm just a bigger fan of Burrow. So, all right. So for my QBs, these guys are kind of like bottom tier 2, maybe upper tier 3. Deshaun Watson or Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, this one's interesting because I think we always trash Kirk. Like, it's Kirk
Deshaun
Cousins.
Watson, right? A couple years ago was top 5 QB in the league.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and then he had an off year last year, and I think. Here's the thing with Deshaun Watson. He has good weapons still. Like he had the offense last year.
Yeah.
But he's kind of new to it, and he was suspended for the first 11 games or whatever. And so he was kind of just warming up. Like that last half of the season were his warm-up games for the team, I'd say. And like this season will be his true showing of if he's back
him with
or
the Browns,
if he truly like regressed and he's not the same anymore. Versus Kirk Cousins, like we kind of trash Kirk Cousins every year.
Yeah. I'm a Packer fan, right? Kirk Cousins sucks.
Yeah.
But dude
kind of
shows that. Dude, he kind of shows
during the
that
regular
when it's
season.
He's not bad.
During the regular season, he he comes out every single regular season and he's doing all right. And then playoffs, which don't affect fantasy, is not as good. But so I'd say regular season, I think I'm picking Kirk. And I also think with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson to throw to, I think those are 3 great weapons for him right off the bat. Yeah. So, I mean, they got rid of Dalvin Cook, but I feel like Alexander Madison is going to fit right in there, right out of the backfield. So I think, honestly, I got to go with Kirk. I think it's a safer pick. And I think, Deshaun Watson's it's more of speculation. Like you could hope that he's going to be back and not regress, but I think Kirk Cousins is a safer pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we talk crap about Cousins all the time, but yeah, I mean, weirdly, in fantasy, he's going to get you that 27, 30 points a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, he's the safer pick. Does Watson have more upside? Absolutely. But Cousins is the safer pick. But I'm going to go with Watson because
you like the upside.
Yeah, and I don't like the Vikings.
Yeah, you got to go anti-Vikings. I'm the same way with fantasy. I can't draft the Falcons.
Yeah, I don't draft Vikings, Bears, and Lions. Except I had one Lion on my team last year. Yeah.
He's a dog
last year. Yeah, get into it a little bit. Yeah.
Anyways, John, you want to do wide receivers or running backs next?
Let's do running backs.
So for my running back choice, I had Bijan Robinson or Josh Jacobs. So Josh Jacobs was the number 1 running back in fantasy last year, and he showed out, like he balled out. But then you got Bijan Robinson, a guy this year that's coming into the league with a ridiculous amount of hype. Some are saying he's better than Saquon as a prospect coming into the league. I don't know about that. I think Saquon, arguably, I feel like Saquon had a more entertaining and exciting season his year before the NFL. I remember.
Saquon was a bigger prospect coming out of college.
Yeah. He was. Some people, I feel like some people are overhyping Bijan. I think he's going to be great. Like, I don't want him to be great. He's a Falcon, but I feel like he has the skill set and everything he needs. Like, the Falcons have built a team for a run-first offense, so I think he's going to have a great year. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Josh Jacobs, he's the heart and soul of the Raiders offense. And he was last year, and I feel like they're going to rely on it again this year with the quarterback uncertainty with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
I just think they're going to rely on him, and he's a veteran. So I think he instantly, he knows what's going on in the league. He's adapted to it already, where Bijan Robinson might have those few games as the first 3 games of the season, first 4, whatever, to warm up, and then he might explode. Who knows? But I just feel like Josh Jacobs, if we're in a one season league where you're doing redrafts every year, I think Josh Jacobs 100%. If you're in a dynasty
league, you're going Robinson.
Completely different. You're going Robinson. But if we're talking right now this season, Josh Jacobs 100%.
Yeah, so I would say, Jacobs was what? He was top 2 last year?
He was number 1 last
right?
year.
He was 1.
He had a ridiculous season.
Can that happen again? Yeah, that could happen again, right? I don't know. This is tough. I think when you look at, both players and stuff, the Raiders got weapons, right? They got Devonta, they got Renfro, they got, who they just get? Myers from the Patriots at receiver.
They did.
They got weapons, but again, it's Jimmy G. So you're not throwing, 30 balls a game with him. I don't know. This is tricky. Robinson, right? I mean, crappier division he's in. Like you said, kind of built, we know that Falcons offense, you got rookie QB basically, right? And Ritter and, Kyle Pitts doesn't get a lot of fantasy points. So,
it was weird,
I don't know. This is tough. But you know what? Raiders had their weapons, and I don't know. I think they're going to let the rookie eat, right? Top 10 pick. Young QB. So I'll go Robinson.
Yeah, and I think
surprise pick. Point. I mean, it's tough to go back to back, be number 1 in fantasy again. So you know what? I'll go Robinson. I'll go the upside too. And you know what? He's a better receiver than Jacobs too, right? So
yeah, he probably and that's another thing I was gonna say is there hasn't been a repeat number 1 running back to back, and I think
Henry know how many years.
Henry might have, but he has a lot of that in PPR leagues. He might not have because it's more of he's not getting all those catches. He's just run first. So I think I'd go Josh Jacobs, but I think Bijan Robinson. Anyone can make that argument 100%.
Yeah. All right, so I got Joe Mixon or Aaron Jones? I mean, when you look at both these guys, I think last year kind of showed it. They're both kind of like inconsistent, right?
Yeah,
Like
I think
Mixon was very
Mixon 100%.
inconsistent last year, right? And he's in a tough division, and he's playing with Joe Burrow, and they have T Higgins, and they have Jamar Chase, right? They have weapons, Tyler Boyd. And then you look at Aaron Jones, where it's
I want to say
I think when you're talking ranking running backs, Mixon and Jones are kind of like near each other. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
for fantasy too. And you look at Jones, it's not like he's inconsistent, but it's just like, we all know he's splitting carries with, Dylan. Last year he was playing with Aaron Rodgers, so they're throwing the ball a little bit more. But this year he's with Jordan Love. So you're going to see a lot more running. He's still going to balance the carries with Dylan, but Jones is very explosive, really good receiving back. Nixon does everything too. You know what I mean? Look at offenses, divisions. So I don't. This is. I mean, I know where I'm going, but let's hear what you got.
I think so. Here's my thing. Mixon went to the Panthers, right? That's where he's at now.
Oh, so the Bengals.
Who went to the Panthers? Or who went to the
Miles
Panthers?
Sanders.
Running back? Miles Sanders. I get them confused like all the time for whatever
Why?
reason. Dude, it's been constant. My whole life, I always gotten mixed up. But I think Mixon, like, I've never trusted him. Like his whole career, I remember there was a few years where he was like the number one. Everyone was like, "Oh, go draft Mixon, go draft Mixon." People did it, and then his year isn't as exciting as it was supposed to be. Like I feel like he doesn't live up to the hype. Even last year, I mean, he had a solid season, but it's not like he's not going to come out and explode or anything like that. But I feel like Aaron Jones has a higher upside as a new guy with Jordan Love. I feel like Jordan Love, newer quarterbacks are going to rely on that, especially out of the backfield. Like that's that emergency route. Like that's what a young quarterback especially is going to rely on, throwing that to the running back in the backfield, or that's PPR points all day. So I think Aaron Jones is going to benefit 100%. With a new quarterback. So I think I'd 100% go Aaron Jones. And I'm just not really a Mixon fan, I would say.
I'm going Aaron Jones as well. So
yeah, easy conversation there. And then right into receivers. So my two, I think this is a great debate because it was the offensive rookie of the year, the two that were possible, like most likely be named, Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. What do you think?
So Garrett Wilson, right? He's got Aaron Rodgers now. Bad news though. Aaron Rodgers brought some of his boys. Cobb, Lazard. They got Hardman too. Did they sign another receiver?
No, I think that was
I think that's kind of
main additions.
But and then you look at Olave, right? With the Saints, they just got Derek Carr. That's an upgrade at QB. Michael Thomas, who knows? What his deal is, how healthy he's gonna be. Stay healthy. I think it's pretty easy. I think. I think Garrett Wilson and Rodgers is gonna be an awesome connection. But I think you got to go Olave, right? I think because not that Garrett's the number one receiving threat for the Jets, but they just have a lot more weapons. And, when Rodgers is coming in with a connection with Lazard and Cobb too, that's going to, on those big third downs and in the red zone, that's going to take away some targets from Garrett Wilson. So, yeah, I got to go Chris Olave here. Kind of easy just because upgraded QB, right? And, he's the number one threat, and I think he's the number one threat by a lot.
Yeah, and I think here's the thing. Like you said, like Michael Thomas, who knows how he's going to do? I think he has to prove himself before he becomes the number one again. A few games into the season, if he stays healthy, I think he'd take over that number one spot. But Chris Olave, right off the bat, like he's more. He runs crisp routes. Like that was his thing. His whole career, he runs crisp routes, and he's gonna. It's really hard to guard him. Like I want to say it was Darius Slay said Chris Olave was one of the tougher opponents he had to face, coverage wise. So Chris Olave is a guy that's going to get open most plays. And if Derek Carr's able to give him the ball, he had 1,042 yards last year and he missed 2 games. And this is a guy that I want to say didn't get the amount of looks that he should have last year with Andy Dalton and then with Jameis Winston going down and Andy Dalton kind of stepping in. I don't think Andy Dalton was finding him as much as he should have. And I don't think Pete Carmichael was calling good plays for him. But I think this year, Chris Olave is going to be easily the number one in the Saints. and he had 1,000 yards last year with 4 touchdowns, and he had 72 catches too, which is pretty damn good for PPR. So I think he's just going to go up from there this upcoming season as the number 1 receiver, barring if Michael Thomas is an amazing comeback year.
Nope. It's the one time I'll agree with you on a Saints take. That's the one time I'm going to agree with you. All right, I got Amon St. Brown or Jalen Waddle.
This is going to be, I feel like, a debate because I feel like Jalen Waddle, like everyone loves Jalen Waddle.
So I had both of these guys on my fantasy team last year. So I got a soft, yeah. So I got them in like because now you look at them and like you got these guys on the same team, both coming off good years, but like last year when you're drafting, you could get them in like the 4th and 5th round. You know what I mean? So I got a soft spot for both of them. They both dominated for me. Both guys just do different things, right? I mean, St. Brown's the type of guy to have 8 catches for 80 yards and like a touchdown, and Waddle's the type of guy to have 3 catches, 120. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is more of those long
right. He's more
long plays,
he's the explosive player, right? And you look at it though, right? Waddle is the number 2 in Miami, and St. Brown is the number 1 in Detroit. To Jared Goff, take your pick there. I don't know. This is to me. I mean, I'll let you speak right now, but like to me, I think this is the toughest like one we've gotten so far. Like I don't know. I don't
think
a good one. You can't go wrong. I don't know. I mean, like they're right there.
They're both good picks. You're not gonna make a wrong decision. I'd say with either of the two. But I think for me, it's an easy decision. I'm gonna pick the guy that I think I've had him in leagues of mine 2 years in a row, and I'm not the biggest Waddle fan. I think it's easy. I'm gonna pick Amon-Ra 100% of the time. And the reasoning is in PPR leagues, Amon-Ra feasts. Last year, he got hurt a couple games, and he didn't have an insane season. But I think it was the second half of the year that Amon-Ra came alive, and he was just getting catch after catch after catch. And then you could really tell he was just racking up points. He's the Lions' number 1, 100%. Like at the end of the year, they started clicking as an offense, and Jared Goff started finding him. And I really think that's that connection that the Lions are going to look for this upcoming season. So I 100% think Amon-Ra's the answer in this situation. I mean, Jalen Waddle is also competing with Tyreek Hill.
You can't go wrong.
No, you absolutely can't. Like,
I don't know if you remember this.
Amon-Ra's the answer.
I don't know if you remember this 2 years ago. It had to be week 17, week 16, right? It's like it's like the second to last week of the season. So that's championship for fantasy, And my buddy was in the championship in our league, and he was up by like 30, and Jalen Waddle, the Dolphins actually played the Saints, and Jalen Waddle like went off that game and like won my other buddy in the league and like beat him. And we were watching the game, and it was just, dagger into the heart. I don't know. I mean, Jalen Waddle's a stud. I pulled it up right here, last year's rankings. I don't know if it's totally spot on, but we got Jalen Waddle at 7 and Amon-Ra St. Brown at 10.
Yeah.
But you know what? They're right there in the same range. I mean, like to me, if I had to pick right now, let's say they're both there in like early 3rd round and I'm up, and then they're like top 2 receivers. I think I got to go St. Brown too. I mean, I think
really.
Yeah, I mean, Waddle's more explosive, but I think you always get the guy that's going to have like 8, 10 catches a game, right?
Consistency every week.
The way they use St. Brown too, he does a lot of end arounds too, right? He's run the football a lot, you know what I mean? So I think you got to go St. Brown.
Yeah, I think he's a staple of the offense, and like you said, you don't want a guy that's scoring 20 points one day and then 5 the next. Whereas if you get a guy that's scoring 18 points every single week, like you're taking that. Like you're 100% taking that. And I think Amon-Ra just week in, week out is going to put those numbers up for you.
The only problem with St. Brown though is he plays the Packers twice. Kind of have to sit him. You know what I mean?
Like, you got to worry about that. I don't got to worry about it.
I benched him both times.
I mean, that's dedication. That's what I do as a Saints fan too. Anyone that's playing the Saints, benched right there
Yeah,
and
Pat
there.
Mahomes your QB. Chiefs playing the Saints though.
Sorry, bud, you gotta
You
go.
bench him.
You gotta go. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it costs me fantasy games the same way in Madden. Like I'm a reckless guy in Madden too. I will always go for it on 4th down, never punt, no matter what.
Mhm.
I'm
Well,
always gonna
yeah,
bench
I
a guy
mean-
playing the team, no matter what. It's like I don't know. I'm kind of reckless in that way. I was just stubborn, but whatever.
Such a badass,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm basically Johnny Lawrence, right?
basically.
Yeah.
I'm Hawk.
All right. Yeah. You'd be Hawk. I'm Johnny. Anyways, for tight ends, here we go. I'm gonna get right into this one. I like this one because I think these are 2 tight ends that are on the come up. That aren't those. It's not Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, George Kittle. The guys that are like kind of known as these are the tight ends of fantasy. They're gonna get you the points every week. I'm gonna go with Cole Kmet or Juwan Johnson. And Juwan Johnson's like a lot of people are gonna say, who's Juwan Johnson? He's a Saints tight end across from Taysom Hill, who had seven touchdowns last year, which I think was tied 3rd for most as a tight end. And you could tell that the Saints are trying to get him the ball like they did previously for tight ends. Like the tight ends in 2021, I believe, were terrible for the Saints. Like we weren't getting them the ball at all. But last year they finally started getting that back and hitting him in the seams, hitting him on corner routes, all that kind of stuff. And this year, I think he's only getting an improvement with Derek Carr. I think their connection is going to grow. So I think I'd go with Juwan Johnson, but Cole Kmet, like, come on. I mean, Justin Fields is going to find him. And he had a few games last year where he looked like he was going to be really good. But then he had a few games where he's like, where's he at? Like we said with Jalen Waddle, like he had a few breakout games and a few where he had nothing. So I'd take Juwan Johnson because I think he's going to be more consistent this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Juwan Johnson too for different reasons though. I think you look at Cole Kmet and it's like they brought in Big Bob Tonyan. You know, they brought him over from Green Bay for tight end. Not saying he's gonna start over it, but hey, that's another tight end in the room competing for targets. You look at the receivers. DJ Moore came in, Darnell Mooney, Claypool. When you look at that, really, when you look at the bigger picture, you know, he's kind of like the 3rd option. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
weapon-wise.
Maybe, right? 3rd option. Plus, you got a QB that runs a lot, right? Like, I don't see a lot of targets and stuff going his way. And plus, you got another tight end in the room who might be better. Like Tonyan, I don't know. Tonyan,
Nah, I see where you're going with that.
say
but
that, but like Tonyan's, you know, they're neck and neck. Like, is he that much better than
I think Cole-
Tonyan? No,
yeah.
he's not.
He's
not.
I think he's quicker and he's a
He's
little
not.
bit better of a receiving tight end. I think
I don't think so.
that's here and there. I mean, that's not really a big
He's a
deal.
better blocker because that's what gets you on the field. I don't think so.
Yeah, but not on the Bears. The Bears don't care.
All right, well,
The Bears
but
suck.
but then you look at Juwan Johnson and like he could be like receiving threat. He's like he could be the
Yeah,
number
no,
2.
he's not-
He could
yeah.
be the number 2 guy. Better
Yeah,
Olave.
no, I'm 100%.
Right?
Like he's more of a receiver than he is a blocker. Like so I don't want to say like I don't want to put it out there like this is gonna be a huge overreaction if I say it, but like people are referring to him as like a Travis Kelce type tight end. Like not like he's not putting up Travis Kelce
Yeah,
numbers.
he's a receiving tight
a
end.
receiver tight end that they're gonna find them and
Yeah,
give him the
he's
ball
not
to
gonna
run after the
block.
catch.
Yeah, I mean you know I look you see his build. He's got a receiver build. He's not that
Yeah, he used to
thick,
be a
you know what
receiver
I
in
mean?
college too. Yeah.
Right? Exactly. And you look at him and he's got Derek Carr and Derek Carr, you know, I mean like Fields being a running QB, like that's big for like his receivers and looking at fantasy. Like that's less targets, like it just is. You know what I mean? Like plays that he's going to run, that's just another target that's not going to your receiver. You look at Derek Carr, is not really like a running QB. You know what I mean? Like those are the kind of receivers you want, right? And Juwan Johnson, like I said, like he's like that number 2. Like when you really look at it, like we don't know about Michael Thomas. He's like the 2nd receiving threat on the Saints right now, right?
Mhm.
And then you look at Cole Kmet on the Bears, and he's, I don't know, 4, maybe 3. 3 is really nice. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's a no-brainer. I think Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, I agree. I really do.
All right, so for my tight ends, I got little giants going at it. You know, tight ends are so tough to pick. I mean, there's
Yeah, 'cause you
there's
never know how
5
they're
good
gonna
tight
do.
ends, and then everyone else just like
And even like the top tight ends, like you're
Yeah,
talking about,
even
like
they
Mark Andrews,
struggle.
we had him on our fantasy last
They
year, and it was like, where the hell did he
sucked.
go? Like for multiple weeks.
It's terrible. So yeah, Darren Waller or Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I like this. And I
So
think
this
there's
is
a lot of
good,
upside.
right? Because you really
Yeah.
look at Waller, right? That was like the Giants' like big off season like
Oh,
pickup, right?
shoot. I lost you for a second. What were you saying, John?
So when you look at Darren Waller, right? That was like the Giants' like big pickup
Big
this off
splash
season,
move.
right?
Yeah.
That's like their big receiving threat now, right? They didn't bring in any receivers. Um, they drafted one in the second round, the third round, but this was their big weapon that they brought in for Daniel Jones. And then you look at Ingram, who had like a big year last year in Jacksonville, right? He came
Yeah, it is
alive.
breakout year. Yeah.
But I look at that and I'm like, do I really trust two things? Do I trust him? Do I have confidence that he's going to duplicate that he's going to do that again? And then I also say, oh, Calvin Ridley's coming into the picture now too. See like less reps to Evan Ingram, less targets to Evan Ingram, right? So I think, I'm going to Waller here, even though he's playing with Daniel Jones. Yikes! I'm gonna go Waller.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Waller this year is poised for more of a breakout year too, because I think a team like the Giants that has I feel like they're going to
And
be able to do a lot of
I don't want to interrupt you, but just look at the Giants receivers too, right?
yeah,
Like they
yeah,
didn't add
depth
anyone,
wise.
and look at the size. There is not a lot of size to work with. And then you got Waller, who is huge. He's thick. He's built like a receiver,
Pause,
but he's
pause,
big.
John.
All right, take it easy. But you know what I'm saying. He's big. He can move. He's a big target. So even though, I mean, I could totally see Ingram, like, I don't know, I could see Ingram having a better year, but just off of what I said, I mean, I think Waller,
Yeah,
probably
no,
the better pick.
I think Waller's the easy pick here, and I mean, Ingram's not gonna be terrible. I don't think he's gonna be
No,
bad.
no, no,
Like
no,
I
no.
think he's gonna have another good year. But
Yeah, he's a
Waller,
starting tight end
as
fantasy,
a,
but it's
like
just,
as a Giant this year, I feel like he's gonna be one of their number one, number two
yeah,
guy.
he's going to
Like
get more targets.
he's 100%. That's what Daniel Jones is gonna be looking for, and I don't think there needs to be anything more said. Like I think he's gonna get more receptions, and that's what matters in fantasy.
Yep.
That's how it is.
Mhm.
And then after the tight ends, so we're gonna do one just flex, random position. So my one more is gonna be JSN or Jordan Addison, battle of the rookies. And I think
That's easy.
it's pretty easy too. But I think it's a good topic because it's a lot of people are like saying which is like the better
Yeah.
number two or number three kind of receiver for fantasy. I think it's a good flex. Like these are the kind of guys that would be like a
Mhm.
flex guy in fantasy, not going to be the number one, number two receiver on your team. So it's gonna be like a later round pick, like maybe fifth, sixth, seventh rounds. And I think you got to go JSN. But I want to hear your thoughts.
JSN?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think you're
I'm
going
going
JSN.
Jordan Addison.
Nah.
Because
don't
like
know.
we said, no, I'm going Jordan Addison because like we talked about in the show earlier, Cousins. Believe it or
Yeah,
not,
regular season.
he's a good fantasy QB. He is, right? Adam Thielen out the door. Dalvin Cook out the door. Didn't they lost the tight end too? Irv Smith out the door. Jordan Addison's the number 2 receiver now. Cousins is a good fantasy QB, believe it or not. When Jefferson's getting double teamed, triple teamed, he's going to go backside of Addison or in the slot. I think Addison's better than JSN, better. I don't think he's a better player, but he's better in fantasy than JSN. You look at JSN, that Seattle receiving core, DK, Lockett, him. He's
there's
kind of
depth
like the
there,
third guy. You know what I mean? Like he's the third guy. Gino's good, but again, he's just the third guy. He's the third target, so that's tough. When you got a guy who's 2, and honestly, when you're talking fantasy wise, who's better, Cousins or Gino? Cousins.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
I can see where you're going with that. Like
So
depth, like,
yeah.
and
So
quarterback play is big.
so I got to go Addison, and I think this is kind of easy. I'm going Addison. Fantasy wise, I mean, JSN's
yeah,
better
no,
receiver, but
yeah.
Addison's the
And
receiver.
so my reasoning is I think JSN is going to be. So we already talked about Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. This guy JSN was on that same team, and he had 1,500 plus yards with them on the roster as well. So I think as a guy that necessarily isn't thought of as like the wide receiver one in every single game, he can still get those chunk plays and multiple receptions every single game. I think he's going to be a good choice. And I think they're going to aim for him to be the successor to Tyler Lockett once he's gone. I really do. I think that's gonna be that. I think he's gonna be that guy.
Yeah,
for
I
them.
mean, like, if you're doing a dynasty league, I'd
Well,
probably
yeah,
go
even
JSN. If we're talking right
even
now, I
regular
mean,
season.
if you're going right now, though, I think you got to go Addison.
Yeah, no, and
Because, like you said,
I
he's
get that.
gonna be the guy to take over from Lockett, just not this season.
No, I see what you're saying, but I feel like they're gonna start. I don't know. I feel like no one's gonna be able to guard him. Like as a number 3 guy, like they're gonna be having their nickel corners on him, or that second string corner on him, taken away from DK or Tyler Lockett. He's gonna be getting open, and then you could say the same with the Vikings. Like you really could. You could say they could even be double
Yeah.
teaming Justin Jefferson over there.
Yeah, double, triple teaming. Yeah, I mean,
I think it's. I mean, I think there's also this is kind of one that's you could argue either way. I could see why it's an easy choice for you, like for Jordan Addison, and I could say easily that I think I would pick JSN, but it's just preference. Like you think, like it's what you think kind of is going to happen. But I speculating that I think
yeah.
JSN is going to have a big season this year.
Like I say take Addison, but the pick comes to me, and these two are the top two. I'm going JSN. You know what I mean? Just screw the Vikings, but that's just me.
Another Vikings play. Yeah, you just can't have them. Can't have them.
Yeah. All right. I didn't get the memo, but the flex. So this is just another one, a random I made. This one's a good one. This is kind of like your receiver too. So Devontae Smith or DJ Moore. You right? You look at both.
Devontae Smith.
You think so?
I can say that.
So
hammer it down right away.
So I think, right, you look at the Eagles offense, he's number 2 option receiving wise. Hurts likes to run, they're big running the football team, you know what I mean? That's what they do. That's what they're gonna do with the QB, with the running backs. And then you look at DJ Moore and it's like he's definitely I would say DJ Moore is a better receiver than Devontae Smith. But I think, and he's that number 1 receiver now in Chicago. I guess I think it just determines how much confidence you have in Justin Fields, right? Like that's what determines his pick.
Have a good
right?
season, yeah.
That's what determines his pick is how much confidence do you have in Justin Fields? I think it's like this is like a good discussion, right? Because a lot of people are saying like this is Fields' year. So
yeah,
what do you think? So you say Devontae Smith easy? I
think easy. He had 19 or 11, almost 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns as the number 2 guy for the Eagles last year. And I think it's going to be a repeat. I think he can do the same exact thing. Like he was a Heisman for a reason. Came in, everyone doubted him, and he proved everyone wrong. And I really think that he's going to be easily a great receiver again this year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, I think this pick really matters on your confidence in Justin Fields, and I don't have a lot of confidence in him. So I'm gonna go Devontae Smith too. But I think for a lot of people, this is a good, discussion back and forth.
Yeah, there's definitely you could make an argument either way.
Yeah,
because a lot of people prefer like, hey, he's the number 1 guy. I'm gonna pick him purely because he's the number 1 guy on a team, like over a number 2.
Yeah,
but you got to think like Devontae Smith, I think, is gonna get more reps and more receptions.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this episode. Like I said before, going forward, about a month and a half, 2 months away from this season, from when it really gets interesting with preseason games and training camp and all that fun stuff. So, just kind of bear with us these next couple of weeks, this next month and a half. These episodes are gonna, as we get closer, it's more like predictions, more stuff about camp, preseason, who's going to make the team. And going forward, we're going to try to have a lot more guests on the show too, to make it more interesting, ask about their teams, not just always talk about the Saints and Packers. So it's going to be, we're getting there. So hang on.
Getting into the entertaining part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stick with us.
Off-season's a little tough, but you know what I mean? We're having fun. Jenks, any closing thoughts?
Nah, like you said, there's not a lot of topics that we can come up with right now. We're trying. But we want that interaction with you guys. So if you guys think of topics, hey, what do you guys want us to talk about? Just comment down below or share to friends, share to friends, ask them, what do you think?
Or come on the show and tell me why Jordan Love sucks. And let's go.
Yeah, you come on and challenge us about
12
our
rounds.
I'll take you 12 rounds. We love guests on the show. So
yeah.
Anyone that wants to come on, just always reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, with that being said, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at JanksHammerPod. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube at JanksHammerPodcast. If you watch on YouTube, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment why
anything.
Comment
whatever
why
the hell you
Jordan
want.
Love's going to be a better fantasy QB than Derek Carr. Just comment it, all right? And then we can
Okay.
talk about it.
Comment why that's a load of BS. But
It's not,
anyways, just comment
That's the
anything,
scary
guys.
thing.
We're always looking
Yeah.
for
but
interact.
all good. Yeah. But hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, happy 4th of July, everyone.
Happy 4th.
Let's get out of here.
Thank you for tuning in to the Jenks and the Hammer podcast. Remember to leave a review and follow all of our social media pages at Jenks Hammer Pod for more content. Until next time, who dat and go Pack Go!